Good morning and welcome to R&R Lifestyle. You know, one of the things that is always fun to do is to make beer in the morning so you can drink it in the afternoon. Now, we can't drink it in the afternoon, but what we're going to do right now is we are going to make some homemade beer on our, we're taking you into the laundry room here, on our Grainfather, which is right here. This is a all-in-one brewing system right here. So it's all Bluetooth controlled. It's got the grain basket down in here. If I set that just like that, and I can pull up the grain basket, see right down inside here. So what we're gonna do is today we are making a German Koelsch beer. Koelsch is like a lawnmower, they call it like a lawnmower beer. Pardon all that banging and clapping. It's like a lawnmower beer. It's very light, very refreshing. It's in the ale family, and we're gonna make that today. I've got my Grainfather Sparge water tank set up here. I've already got it filled up with, I think I got 2 gallons in here right now, but it always leaves because the tap right here is just a half gallon up above the bottom, which is right there, that line right there. So we're going to heat up our sparge water there, but we're not there yet. So we've got our Koelsch grain right here. We've got our 2 different types of hops right here. We've got Hallertau and we've got Spalt. This Hallertau has a very citrusy type flavor to it. And then this is our yeast right here, Nottingham yeast. These hops will go into these bags right here, and they get thrown in after we've created our mash. The mash process is when you're running water through all this grain, which is going to go into that basket. But the first step right now is to go back in here, and we want to add 5 gallons of water into the tank. So there's markings on the side here. I don't know how well this is going to show up on camera. I don't know how well that'll show up on camera, but there are markings right there. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this up with 5 gallons of water, and then we will sparge with 1.5 gallons of hot water through the grain after we're all set. I'll show you the control panel here, which will tell us what we're doing and everything. And I don't even have it plugged in right now, but I'll plug it in here in just a second. I got my phone sitting over here, so it's all ready to do some Bluetooth. And it alerts you when the next step is ready, or to get the sparge water running, and all that is very, very cool. So this is the Grainfather right here, all-in-one brewing system. The only thing I didn't like about it was made in China, but what are you gonna do? So anyway, here we go. I'm gonna add the water, and I'll show you all the different steps. Go over here and go into it this way. This is the Grainfather app for your phone. So this here, reconnect the controller. Yes, trying to reconnect. Let's come in here. Looks like it did connect. All right, see up here? It says we are connected now, okay? So your brewing stats, all right? We are going to go to, I have 3 recipes in here. Let's see here, new brew. We are going to do the Koelsch, which is that one right there. All right, and the last time that we did that was on July 24th, 2020. All right, so we are going to start a brew. So we click on that, start brew. And we want to get that water up to, it says fill the Grainfather brewing system with the water, then press the button below or set, On the connect control box, the target temp is 149 degrees. So we got to come over here. You got to come down here and click on that little switch right there. Let's see here. We've added the water. Press set to start heating. All right, so this is mash 1. I'm hoping you can see this okay. Mash 1. We're doing the Koelsch. Temperature right now. This gives you readings in centigrade. I hate Celsius. I hate that. I wish it was Fahrenheit. I'm in the United States. I want Fahrenheit. But anyway, on the phone, that's the nice thing about the app, is on the phone, it does give it to you in Fahrenheit. So the current temp of the water in there right now is 71 degrees. Our target is 149. So it says, it shows you the status of how much how it's heating up and stuff like that. We're still at 0%, but it's heating right now, and that'll get going. So once that gets up to 149 degrees, we'll start adding the grain. I can see it's already up to 22 now. It was 21 just a second ago. So we're going to let this get going. I'm going to throw the lid back on here, which will help it heat up a little bit faster, and we'll go from there. All right, and it says add the grain now. So we're going to click on OK, and we will come around in here. Here you can see the Grainfather. It's saying right here, add grain. Hopefully you can see that and there's no glare in there. We are making the Koelsch. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to add the grain. So what I do is I take this lid off right here. Now the Grainfather will hold that temperature at 149 degrees right there right now. I'm going to set the lid over here. Got this little stopper on here right now so grain doesn't go down below underneath where the pump is going to pump this up and through. I'm going to come in here and get the grain, and I will dump the grain into here, stirring it at once as I add it, so you don't just dump it all in and then stir it. You dump a little bit in, stir it up, a little bit in, stir it up, because you don't want to end up with any clumps or balls of dough balls of grain in there. So that's what I'm going to do right now. Okay, so I've got all the grain added now. Now I'm just stirring this up, getting it all mixed up in here really well. Dig down from the bottom and kind of roll it around a little bit in there. See the rice hulls in here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put on our top screen, and that top screen is there's a lot of grain in here, and this gets really heavy. So you want to make sure you do this on the floor. I wouldn't do this on a table, because especially when you get to the sparge point and you lift up this grain basket and let all the wort drain out of there. The wort is the water that has gone through this grain for an hour and washed out the sugars and the flavors out of the grain. So there is our all of our grain is in there now. And now what we're going to do is we're going to come back in here. We're going to put on our top screen. You'll see that here in just a second. Put on our top screen. We don't need that spoon anymore. So let me go get the top screen set up, and that's going to press down on top of this. All right. Okay, so we've got our top screen on there. We've got it slightly submerged. It's like maybe a 1/4 of an inch below the top. You can see the little pull tabs still sticking up here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get the lid, and I'm going to show you here in just a second. I'm going to set the lid down like this. Okay, so I've got the lid on here. I've got this rubber silicone tube here that this connects up to the pump, which is right down there. That's the pump. So I'll connect this up. It just screws on just like this. And you gotta make sure you get started on the threads right, and then it will lock that down. Okay, that way you don't have any spillage. This is the on-off lever. You want this in the on position, which is vertical, allowing the wort to recirculate through here. It's going to come from the bottom up, spill through all that grain, come back down, be pumped up, pumped up, pumped up. So we got this in here now. I am going to go ahead. I like to adjust this so that it kind of washes around the grain and not so much like straight. I don't like it straight into the side there. I prefer it if it washes like around a little bit. So take the lid. I think that's a good position right there. Take the lid and put that back like this. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to come over here to our little phone app. And we'll wake up my phone. All right, and we're going to say start mash. So we click start mash. The pump is about to turn on. To recirculate wort during the mash, make sure the mash basket is in place and recirculation hose is attached before proceeding. I said okay. And there it goes. So now it'll show us a status here over the next 60 minutes of this mash taking place. It's going to keep the water temperature at 149 degrees the whole way through the mash process. So what we're doing right now is called the mash. So the pump is on, and I don't know how well you can see that circulation in there, but it is flowing around. And I'll see if I can lift this up. And you can see that all stirring around there, and that'll get darker and darker as we go along here. And that is just washing down through the grain and being pumped right back up to wash right back down through. Gravity will pull it down, and that'll go like this for an hour. So for right now, my wife has made me promise her that we are going to watch an episode of Yellowstone with Kevin Costner. All right, and now we're going to pull that grain basket out, and we're going to let that all the water that's in the grain drain down into the bucket. So I am going to right now is at 168. So we're going to sparge this out with the hot water, and really all that is taking water and pouring it over the top of this grain. It'll go through these holes, through the grain, out the holes that are on the bottom. There's a screen just like this on the very bottom of the grain, so the grain doesn't wash down into the wort, and that'll get those final sugars out of there. So that's what we're going to do right now. With 1.5 gallons of water, we'll pour that in there, rinse that all out. When this finishes draining, you can hear it right now, that's when we'll bring the wort to a boil for an hour. We'll put in our hops at that point, and we'll go from there. Okay, so I thought I'd show you real quick. I've got the boil going, so it boils like this for an hour. So we got our first bag of hops in there. That's our Hallertau, and we are at 100 degrees centigrade, which is 174 degrees Fahrenheit. It's at a boil. It'll do that for an hour. The last 10 minutes of the boil, we'll add our other hops for a little bit of extra flavor. That's the spalt hops. And then we'll also add a whirlflock. Then we will chill this wort down using cold water to chill it down without diluting it. And then we'll put it into the carboy, which is the fermenting vessel, and we'll be good to go from there. Pitch the yeast once it's down to temperature. So this is we're making beer right here. All we're going to do here is boil this for an hour now. And that's going to get all those flavors melded together and stuff. So that's what we're doing. We'll come back over the top here. You'll see that in just a second here. And drop back down in there. There it goes. All right. So the wort is coming through here. It's going around. It's getting chilled by this cold water going into here, which butts up against the copper tubes that the wort is going through. And then the warmed water that's taking the heat away from the wort comes out the red hose and goes back in here. So you're just going to do that until this temperature, the target temperature, is 60 degrees Celsius. It's at 100 right now. Okay, you see it just dropped to 99 right there. Okay, so it'll take it down pretty quick. It's really surprising how fast it takes it down. And if I come back over here to my little app, you can see right here, it was 212, and I apologize earlier, I think I said 174. Boiling was 212, so we've already dropped it down to 207 in just that short little time that you've seen us running the wort through the chiller. So we'll do this. Once we get this down to temperature, we will stick it in, pump all the beer into this carboy right here, and this will be our fermenting vessel. And then once it's down to the right temperature with that, then we will pitch the yeast in there, seal it up, and wait 10 days. And then we'll rack it into bottles, and it'll be good to go 10 days later. It's about 20 days to make beer. At least this kind of beer. So anyway, I'll catch you up later. Once this ferments with the yeast, this will be beer. It'll be delicious beer in here. So we'll just wait for this to pump out using the chiller pump, and we'll be ready to go here to pitch the yeast, and I'll show you the day by day on the progress of this. Okay, so we've got the beer all pumped out of the Grainfather. It's now all in this carboy right here, and I'm just getting ready to pitch this Nottingham high performance ale yeast. This is the dry yeast. This has worked really good for me in the past. So to pitch the yeast, all you do is just you pour it in just like this. Pour that yeast in there. All the sugars that we wiped, and you can see the yeast sitting up on top up there. All the sugars that we flushed out of that grain while we boiled the grain, ran the water through, the water would turn into wort through the grain. That washed all the sugars into the water, and that's why the water is this color now. And this yeast is going to attack all those sugars, and it will convert the sugars to alcohol in here, and we're going to put an airlock on the top up here, which will, and I've got it sitting right over here. This little airlock will allow the carbon dioxide from the yeast attacking the sugar to come out without letting oxygen into the bottle. So we'll set this on here like that, take that like this, and tomorrow this should have a really thick head of foam on here, and it should also be turning into like a storm down here, just rolling storm inside there. It'll be interesting to see. It's kind of like a little science experiment, if you will. So we'll look at it tomorrow. This is German style Koelsch Beer. Shooting with a GoPro here, but we've got all this head on here. This is yeast right here that's trapped in the foam. But the yeast that's in here has replicated, and it's going to be a beautiful beer. The color has gone from a brown to more of a yellow now, and this carbon dioxide just coming out of here, and it's just foaming up. I just took a sniff of it, and it kind of smells like bread when bread is rising. So anyway, I told you I'll show you the days. It'll do this for like about 2 days, and then it'll start settling down. Alright, so day 2 of the fermentation, and the storm is over. The foaming up and exploding out the top, that's all over with now. So right now what you're seeing is literally just the fermentation process in day 2. And it's just a cloudy, beautiful yellow. I hope you can see that without a glare of the spotlight that I've got shining in here. Just a beautiful yellow color. And that'll all settle out, and it'll get clearer as this goes on, and we'll end up with sediment down here at the bottom, down here. But beautiful carboy filled with beer, probably about 5.5 gallons in here right now. So anyway, well, this is day 2. Okay, YouTubers, so I have to apologize to y'all. My intention was at the end of this video, I wanted to pour that beer that I just made for you. Unfortunately, I thought we still had another 12-pack of that left, but we drank it down pretty quick. It's been so hot down here. Every day is like 95 to almost 100 degrees down here. So we were off quite a while for the pandemic and everything, which is why I had the scraggly face. So we drank quite a bit of beer. I mean, when you're home and you're off on a pandemic and stuff, and you're watching Yellowstone and just enjoying that series, 3 seasons now, I think it is. The 4th season starts next year. It's a really great series. I highly recommend it. But anyway, the Koelsch is so good. The way I would describe it, and here's the thing about making your own beer, I find when I drink store-bought beer, it bloats me. I get so bloated. And it's because I guess the preservatives or something that they put into it. But when you make your own beer, there's no preservatives in it. And so I don't get bloated with it at all. And you can just drink and drink and drink. Next thing you know, you've downed 3 pints and you're feeling pretty good. So the beer is gone. So the next time I make some Koelsch beer, I am going to make sure I just do a pour video. It'll be like a 1-minute video, like a little commercial or something like that. But I think tomorrow, my wife's out of town right now, so I think tomorrow I'm going to brew a cream ale, which is also what they call a lawnmower beer. It'll be a light, refreshing kind of beer. That's what you want down here at this time of the year. So anyway, I apologize. I drank it all. My wife drank it all. We drank it all. But we're going to make plenty more because that's her favorite, is that Koelsch beer. She loves it. All right, take care. Bye.